Today I'm taking you with me on the fastest train in Africa. It's the first high-speed train on the entire continent, and I'm going to be showing you exactly what it's like and how much it costs to ride it in first class at 350 kilometers an hour, and whether I'd recommend you to use it yourself as we travel right through Morocco on its very classy new Boraq service, which I rode on my first ever day in the country, starting off with an absolute feast of a breakfast in my hotel in Tangier on Morocco's northern coast. So far north, in fact, that you can see back across to Europe from the roof. Maybe it was my excitement to be riding Africa's only high-speed train and head off on a new adventure, or maybe it was just the huge amount of sugar that they put in tea here, sending me a bit crazy first thing after waking up, but something was definitely in the air in Tangier that morning. I still had no idea of all of the good and bad parts of the train journey that were to come, but I had a real spring in my step on my way through the old Medina down towards the train station. While it was a beautiful introduction to Morocco, with vendors just opening their shops in the bazaars, ample opportunities to stop for an espresso, and more inquisitive street cats than you can shake a bowl of couscous at, the real prize was this approach to Tangier station on the other side of town. One of those places that absolutely invites, maybe even begs, the romantic traveller to set off into a new world. It's a real victory story for how to modernise a train station and add a new commercial shopping wing to it without completely removing all of the old charm of the building. Architects around the world should definitely be taking note of this place. Also, this isn't the Let's Hate on England channel, because I know there's a lot of good things about it, but having come to this station, it makes me never want to go to Southampton Central ever again. It's so nice here. You have no idea how hyped I am. Casablanca, here we come. And I was about to find out if all of that hype was justified, since we were called forward and told that the train was ready for boarding. And before I find out how this is going to go, I'd just like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Manta Sleep. If you've seen me talk about Manta Sleep before, then you already know how much of a game changer I think their products are. Like this, the Manta Sound Sleep Mask, the most comfortable Bluetooth sleep mask in the world. The engineering that went into making such a premium mask as this is actually so impressive, like how it's not only an adjustable, comfy, well-ventilated and breathable eye mask, but also features these razor-thin Bluetooth headphones that allow you to listen to something that helps you fall asleep without hurting your ears, even if you're a side sleeper. Whether that's a podcast, ocean noises, or maybe you've just downloaded my entire channel to listen to back to back while falling asleep. Actually, nah, I probably wouldn't recommend that last one. But with 20 hours of battery life, this thing can see you through a lot of midday power naps in one charge. So if all of that sounds like something for you, or maybe even a gift for the restless traveler in your life, then use the link in the description or enter code Thornton for 10% off of your own sleep mask. All right, thanks again to Manta Sleep for sponsoring the video, and let's get back to it. This huge double-decker bullet train already seemed pretty classy from the outside, but I got on and to my delight looked up my reserved seat to find this absolutely classic plush red chair waiting for me on the bottom floor. Just unbelievable vibes so far, as I'm sure you'll agree when we get into the price that I actually paid for this, and so far I was so happy I'd chosen to travel through Morocco this way, along this 350 kilometer route, which should take us 2 hours and 10 minutes from Tangier on Morocco's northern coast, down south through Rabat, and ending at today's destination, the one and only Casablanca. Now, what I knew about Casablanca at this point couldn't fill the script of a classic 1940s movie, but sitting here, I couldn't help but feel that it was the beginning of a beautiful journey. The carriage was absolutely spotlessly clean, with really comfortable seats, and left my only real complaint as the fact that I wasn't able to choose an upper deck seat when booking online. But I'll get over that someday. One kind of weird thing is that the overhead storage was so cramped that people were leaving their bags in what is presumably the accessible space on the ground floor, which is not ideal, and I ended up just keeping mine by my feet, which was alright. The guy in front and I just about found time to play a couple of quick rounds of shade up versus shade down before the departure time came, and we sped off bang on time, underway on the Boraq. The lush green views coming out of Tangier entertained me as only that first glimpse of a new country can, and I'd like to think that I was not alone in being impressed at how quickly we got up to a cool 300 kilometers an hour with such a smooth ride. These speeds absolutely justify the name Al Boraq, which is actually taken from the Quran, where it's given to a creature who's ridden by multiple prophets and carries them between distant cities almost instantly. Beginning in 2018, this train cut the journey time on the already pretty decent regional train infrastructure in half, running these carriages, which by the way are probably familiar to my loyal French audience, since they were purchased from French company Alstom, who also make the TGVs. Morocco was, for about 40 years, a French protectorate, as anyone who knows their Bogart movies will know, and the ties between the two countries still run deep. When you're travelling in Morocco, it's hard not to notice the French influence in culture and architecture, sometimes even food, or to resist using the odd French word to get out of a situation if someone doesn't speak English. Morocco, of course, gained its independence in the 50s, but I was actually interested to learn while I was here just how economically involved France still is in its former colonies in Africa, with collaboration on this project being just one example. In fact, Macron was just in Morocco to announce another 10 billion euros of investment in its infrastructure, in an effort to keep it on side as a partner and a gateway between France and the rest of the African economies. And with plans to extend this high-speed line beyond Casablanca to Marrakesh and Agadir already floated, I wonder if that's partly what that money will go towards. After we passed through our first intermediate stop and I had my e-ticket scanned off my phone by a very professional and very friendly train guard, I headed off to shoot a toilet review for this video. Absolutely spotless. 5 stars. And then continued up the stairs to the top deck where the lucky people with a higher up view were sitting. I'm totally over that, by the way. And through second class, which still seemed absolutely fine, right down towards the cafe car. The menu here is definitely what you would call extensive, if you're willing to make the time to read it all, but I settled for one thing that I knew they would definitely have, and I enjoyed the first sips of this espresso stood up with the other passengers, looking out at the first raindrops of the day as clouds gathered near Rabat, before taking it down to make use of my mega tray table and watch the world go by in peace, trying to soak it all in and remember how lucky I am to experience moments like this. Also by your seat, you get this European power socket, which was definitely working, and a handy little bin. Now, I've already mentioned how excited I was to be going to Casablanca for the first time, so perhaps the best review that I can give the Al Boraq at this point is that it was so comfortable with such a nice atmosphere that I was actually sad to see that we were arriving and that I wouldn't be able to enjoy it for any longer. So at just a couple of hours between these two major cities, prices in first class from around $15 and the added bonus of arriving at another beautiful old station building, I cannot recommend it enough. So do not forget to use it to get around on your next Morocco trip. Do not forget to check out this video's sponsor, Manta Sleep, at the link in the description. Stay well, and I'll see you in my next video where I attempt to reference as few Casablanca quotes as possible. Promise. See you then.